Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. We have a 2006 Peugeot 206 behind us. We need pads and discs and drop links because that's what it's failed the test on. But yet it hasn't failed the test on a big huge splinter in the tyre. But hey, that's just the way it goes. So that has passed. A huge, I mean, I could just put my finger through that. A huge splinter in the side of the tyre has passed, but yet they've failed the brakes. Okay. I have to say the brakes are bad. They do need changing. There's a huge lip, and I'm going to show you just how brittle they are when they get like that. They kind of look okay. If you didn't really know and you looked at them, you'd think they're okay. Oh, they still look shiny. They don't look rusty. But looks can be deceiving, which I will show you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what you need to do this job. The way I'm going to take off the drop links, I'm going to show you a different way. There's loads of ways of taking off drop links. I'm going to show you a slightly different way. The quickest way, in my opinion, is just to cut them because it's just quick and easy. To be fair, this one, you can't really cut the top. So I'm going to show you a slightly different way of doing it. And we're going to show you the tools and get cracking sorted. Now, everybody, Stephen is back. If you don't know who Stephen is, go back, look at my other videos. This is Stephen. Now, these are the tools we've got. Some of these you can kind of don't particularly need. Like we've got two ratchets here, or two electric ratchets. You don't particularly need them to just make the life easier. So we've got an electric 1/2 inch and electric 3/8. Again, just make life a bit easier, quicker. 17mm socket, a T55 torque, a T30 torque, and a 15mm socket. We got a knockometer, vice grips, adjustable pliers, old flat bladed screwdriver, 13mm spanner, 3/8 ratchet, a lever bar, copper grease and moly grease. And there we go. That's the tools you need. Now there is a couple of more bits, especially when you're working on stuff like this, especially around the wheel arch of your car, because bits can fall in your face and all that kind of crap. And I do get a lot of grief for not wearing kind of goggles and stuff. And to be honest, I should be, so I am going to be wearing them an awful lot more. But this brings into a great thing because I got sent some goggles and some gloves and stuff. Some for me, some for you guys to give away, which is brilliant. So I'll show you them and then we'll get cracking. Sorty. Now people, look what we got sent. We got some lovely beanie hats from ToolFreaks, and we've, oh, that's one I've opened. Some glasses, I'll show you them, and some gloves. Now, they've gave me 3 of each, so I've got 2 lots of gloves to give away. I've got 2 spare goggles to give away and 2 hats to give away. So we'll work out some sort of competition type thing for them. But yes, really do like these. And of course, I make this look good. Right, I'm going to show you the goggles. I really like them. And yeah, where are they? They're over there. Now, these are the goggles. And what I like about them is they come with a case. There's so many goggles out there that don't come with a case. And, you know, they can be quite expensive. You put them somewhere, they drop, they get destroyed and everything. These, I cannot believe the price of these. They're so cheap for what you get. If you get goggles and gloves, I think you order over £20, you get a free hat, and it's free delivery to the UK, so you can't really say fairer than that. But what I like about them is you get your goggles, you get your little wiper thing, plus your hard case. But what's really good about them, they have a nice foam padded area in them, and they're just kind of like ordinary glasses. And obviously you're not going to look as good as me in them, but you know, that's just because it's me. But what's really cool about them, if you have, well, if, say for example, for whatever you're doing, you know, the normal type goggles keep falling off or whatever, they don't particularly work, depending what you're doing, you can unclip these just by pressing a clip and they clip off. And what you get also in it is you get this headband. Now it does say left and right on it, so I need to get the right one. Just says right on it, so you know the right one, so you know what the left one is. And they just clip in, and then they can stay on your boat, like that, which is really handy. And you know, they do kind of suck it to your face, and you've got a nice kind of padded area there. And there we go, people. So thanks a lot to ToolFreaks. I'll leave the link in the description where you can buy these from. We'll also be doing a giveaway for the bits I've got. But as you can see, I'm protected, so I can't touch my eyes. And not only that, we all know protection is good in more than one way. So there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to crack on. We're going to take off the wheel and we're going to get to the brakes. I'm going to show you why you need my goggles. Oh, gloves. Gloves. Yes, need to show you the gloves. Here you go, here's the gloves. Now the 3 fingerless gloves, and what's really good about that is obviously you can screw, you know, because sometimes when gloves is quite thick, you can't really feel the bolt and they can get in the way. Sometimes they'll always get in the way, don't get me wrong, but it's handy to have the 3 extra fingers kind of out. They do kind of get a little bit cold, but at least most of your hand is protected. They've got all these special padding on everywhere. They're a nice fit. I love the colour. I love the colour scheme of everything. And the best thing is, obviously, once you take them off, you don't know you've used them, you know. So once I take it off, you have no idea that you have used them. Sorted. I mean, there you go, people. Absolutely no idea at all you have used gloves. There we go. Should have maybe thought about that a bit more. I've got to try and get this permanent marker pen off my fingers now. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to wear these goodies. We're going to work on this beautiful French engineering piece of engineering. It's definitely a piece. Engineering might not be the second word I would use. But anyway, so 206 front pads and discs and drop links. And my fingers stink. If I keep smelling them, this video might change halfway through. Bang off the wheel first. It's off. I'm going to show you why it's important to wear these babies. This has a huge lip, and I mean a massive lip, to the point where the NCT have actually picked this up. Now, they haven't failed them for being worn, which at the end of the day they should have done because they're worn, because they are bad. They failed them because of an imbalance. So if these weren't imbalanced, these would have still passed. And to give you an idea, that's the lip on them. It's just massive. Must be a 3 or 4 mil lip on them, which is just nothing left. So what's obviously happening is, one, and I'd say it's that side because these pads look slightly better, it's just essentially brake fade. They're getting that hot they can't dissipate the heat properly, which when you come to press the brakes, when brakes get too hot, even racing brakes, they'll come to a point where they just don't work. But the problem is with these, because they're very rusty, even though if you were to look at that first, you might say, oh, that's all right, that looks kind of good. And to be fair, without the lip, yes, it does look quite good. But what happens is, loads and loads of rust builds up in the end. You can see that. Hopefully that's coming through on camera. But what's really scary, let's just get you in a bit more, is because there's such a big lip, if you was to try and take these off, you know, sometimes you do need hammers to take them off. I'm just going to hit this lip. You see all that rust, but not only, I've just taken away. Look at that. See that? And this isn't a big hammer, and I've just taken away half of that brake. Look at that. It's just completely gone. See what I mean? I'm now eating into the actual brake surface. That's how, look at that, just look at that. That's how dangerous brakes are. And like I said, this is a tiny hammer. If I was to get a big hammer on here, I could shatter that disc in half. I'm not going to do it because to hit it quite hard, I don't want to be damaging the bearing. But so dangerous. This is why it's very important to get your brakes checked out. Even if they pass a test, it means nothing. This is essentially going to kill you or someone else, or you and someone else. It really is that bad. Hi people, really annoying. My camera just decided to turn off. I had to take all my stuff off, my gloves, my hat, everything. And I missed obviously a bit, so I'm gonna have to re-hit the disc because I think I missed that. All I've done is taken off the caliper and I've undone the two T30 bolts that hold the actual disc onto the hub. So that's all you've really missed, but I've also think you've missed me smacking this. So I'm gonna hit this again to show you the downsides of what happens when your brake goes bad. So, yeah, just bloody annoying. But anyway, talking to myself, I don't know how long. So as you can see, I'm not using a big hammer. Look at that. Now, I know I'm hammering that, and that's not going to kind of get the same effect when you're driving. But what I'm trying to get at is just how brittle that is. If you was having to brake hard or anything like that, that could just suddenly go. A new brake wouldn't do that. You can just see how bad they are. They are just really, really dangerous. So there we go. Just be aware of it. Always check them. Don't just assume just when you look through the wheel that they're okay. Now on this one, also checking to make sure it slides. I'm going to be re-greasing them, but it's always a good thing just to check. The pads are welded in, so I'm going to have to give that a really good clean. Just going to use these, really are welded in. Right, because I'm not using them again, I can kind of damage them. So there we go. They're out. So now what we need is the T50, is this? T55 for the brake carrier. So I'll get you in behind here and we'll take out the brake carrier. Right, so as you can see, we got them two here, two T55s. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to crack them first. Now what you do want to make sure is, with it being a torque, you want to make sure you get it in there and all the crap's not on it, because if you don't get this in enough and this rings inside, you're kind of in trouble. So, and they're tight too, which is scary, because you don't want anything to break. Wow, they were tight. And torques are not known for their strength, the bolts and the tools. So now this is snap-on one, so if it breaks it's guaranteed, but still. Wow. Ridiculously tight. But at least we got them off. See, don't really need one of these, they just make your life a lot simpler. This one's still too tight. This one might just have to be done the old-fashioned way. Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's just too tight. Now we haven't got the parts for this yet. I'm just stripping this, waiting for the parts. We'll be here tomorrow. But we can get everything stripped, everything cleaned, because we're going to have to give all that a good clean inside there and absolutely everything. Clean all the pins, clean everything. Now let's see if this comes off easy. There we go, it wasn't too bad. But as you can see, just how bad that is. And that was me hitting it with the hammer. And that's kind of, you can see the lip. Can't really see the lip, but as you can see, it is massive. There we go. Right, so I'm going to just clean all this with a wire brush or wire wheel. I might as well show you that for the sake of it. And we'll get the old drop link removed. Sorted. Now, I don't normally have to do this too often, Normally a quick rub with a wire brush or even a wire brush on a drill kind of sorts this out, but we're going a bit heavier this time because this is quite bad. Do the same with the inside of the carriers too. But it's not just this flat surface, it's also here where the disc goes on. If you've got a little bit of crap underneath, the disc can wobble, can cause a big vibration and not work properly and all that sort of stuff. So you really don't want me to watch me do this. I'm going to do this obviously on both sides and the carrier. Once I have that done, once the new part, well actually we'll whip off the drop link, and then once the new parts are here, we'll put everything back on. Sorted. I forgot to say this tool in the beginning. I finished cleaning that and I've just got a very, very small bit of moly grease. You can use anti-seize or anything like that. I've also done the same inside here, and I've also greased up the pins. So I've shown that in loads. You just pop out the pin, clean it, put a bit of grease out and put it back in. But don't use copper grease or anything like in the pins, because it acts like sandpaper and it kind of goes hard and clumps together. Moly grease doesn't do that. You know, any type of grease like that, any decent grease you can use. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take off the drop link. Now, they can be really annoying to get off, or they can kind of come off easy, but you can bet your life this one won't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this wheel around. Now you have to be careful using this method and don't yank at it, because otherwise you will do damage to your ABS sensor. Hopefully you can see that. I've moved the ABS sensor out the way. This sometimes works, but you can bet your life now I'm filming it, it's not going to work and it's going to be really difficult. But you can get this in behind here and just with a quick pull, pop off the drop link. Only do this if you're replacing it, because as you can see I've bent. It's just not working very easily now, but the other side just fell off, which is typical. But because I'm filming it, of course it won't just come off. Just move Stephen out the way. There we go. And what that allows you to do now is take it out of the way, but it allows us to get a vice grips on this end to hold it. Now, like I said, you do have to be careful doing it this way, but it does work, just be careful. Now, is that to come all the way, or has my vice grips got in the way? And yes, my vice grips have got in the way. Hopefully now, if I got the vice grips on tight enough, this should come off with the gun. But if you don't, just retighten the vice grips and it will come off. Fucking thing turned. Come on. Why is it always when you film something, this happens now? That's wedged. Fuck's sake. Stupid fucking design. Hate drop links. I pushed it back again. Let me get an extension bar before I just decide to smash everything on the ground. Problem when you use an extension, you lose power. There we go. Easy. Fucking thing. Now the bottom one's a lot easier to get to. As you can see, the bottom one is just hanging, and it hangs lower than the wishbone, which looks interesting anyway. Now, I'm going to try and spin this off without using anything, but it very, very rarely works. Very rarely. and it just hasn't worked here again. But what we can do is kind of push on the drop link and force it, and sometimes it is enough just to stop it. But not in this case. Now, you can put a torque in there and use a spanner, but it's just, even that can be annoying. So what I tend to do is get the pliers, rip off the boot. To be honest, ball joints are one of them things that once you take off, or once you try and take off, you just replace them, whether they're good or bad, because they normally get damaged pulling them off. But anyway, and again, some of them have where you can put a spanner inside here, makes it easier, but these ones don't. So now I've got the rubber off, hopefully that's in. Same thing again. No, it's not. Again, this way it just takes a little bit of wiggling. Get that on better, like hopefully there now. And there we go. The bloody stupid thing is off. I know I might get asked questions about these vice grips because they don't look like normal vice grips. They are vice grips, they're just Facom vice grips. They're good. But anyway, so we go now. Waiting on the parts. Wait till we get them in, bang them on, done, sorted, off, shipped, whatever. Good luck, bye-bye. Right, only a few seconds for you. Absolute nightmare for me. Wrong parts came, deliveries got delayed, blah, 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 blah. We finally got them. First thing I'm gonna do is bang on the drop link. Now, it's a lot easier to put back on than it is to take off, especially if you've got an air gun or a battery power gun, because they just shoot straight on. Really nice and easy. One thing you do have to be aware of, the track control arm here, make sure you put it underneath, because it has to go in, well, in between the track control arm and the drive shaft. If you put it on the top like this, it's not going to fit on the bottom. So let's just show you that, what I mean. So you can see the track control arm here. If I put it in the top, it's not going to fit, so it needs to go underneath. Put it in and just zip up these two. I think they're 17, and then this is done. Lovely, sorted. Now be careful when you're using any powerful air gun, especially on these, because you will snap them. I'm only snugging them up with this, and then I'm going to tighten them by hand, because you will snap them very easy. Torque to grunt spec. Maybe, there we go. Double check the bottom one. Yeah, sorted. Now, let's bang on the brake. Right, what you want to do is, you can see all this kind of shiny kind of material on this. That's to stop it from rusting in transport. So what I like to do, just be careful, is put it on the wrong way. Get my old brake clean. Wipe that side, flip it over. And there we go. Lovely jubbly. Can you see that? Let's just straighten this up. What I want to do first is just line up the holes so I can put the two splines back in. Little screws just to hold. And this is where these gloves are really handy, because as you can see, this is a tiny little screw, and because it's fingerless, I can feel it. And these gloves are washable. Cold water or warm water, and just leave them to kind of hand dry. I think it's cold to warm water, and then just leave them to kind of dry naturally. And then you can carry on wearing them. Now that's on, we can bang the carrier on. Now because we've cleaned it all, and prepared it all before, which is what you want to do. I've greased up all these. These just pull out, as you can see, fresh grease on them. Not going to be a problem. If they're full of crap, give them a wire brush. I've greased inside there too, where the actual pads sit. So it's all done. Let's kind of get you in this way so you can see what I'm doing. You can see the back. I'm wearing me goggles because you kind of... Ah, you little... Fuck! Because, you know, crap can fall in, especially when you're using air tools. It vibrates stuff and it can fall in your old eyes. So I'm wearing my old bins just to keep them protected. Sorted. Let's get the carrier on. Again, put both bolts in first before you attempt to tighten it, because you know then it's double check your pins. So your pins are good, they are. Or their tool or battery power tools just to line them in. And now tighten them by hand. But I keep looking at my camera because the battery I've got in is a bit dodgy. And it just decides to go off without warning me. Ooh, medium grunt. Click, click. Ooh, click, click. Click. And click. There we go. Now, we can put the pads on. Now, with these pads, you get these little clips on them. Sometimes they come on the pad, sometimes they come in a little packet, they just clip on. One of mine was missing, I had to take one off the old pad, but it doesn't matter, they're still the same. It's just a little wear indicator to let you know when your pads are worn. So what I like to do is just butter up the ends. I don't like to butter up the middle yet, just because your hands can transfer the grease into the middle of the pads and you're going to be in trouble. What you need to do is you have to push these in, but also at the same time push the clip in, because otherwise they won't fit. Sometimes they're going easy, sometimes they're a bit difficult. So I'm just pushing that clip, and as I push the clip, the brake pad should go in. And I say should, but because I'm on camera, you can bet your life it won't. There we go. You don't want these to be tight going in, because you have to force them, because otherwise the actual caliper won't be working properly, because they can seize within here. That's why you need to give these a good clean. Normally we don't really suffer with that bad over here. I just have to give them a bit of a wire brushing usually. These ones were a little bit worse. I know in some places they actually use sandblaster, which is really good, but that's when they're really bad. I've never had to have used them over here, to be fair. And again, push a little pin in, and there we go. That slots in lovely. Now we can unhook the piston, caliper. Bang that on, make sure these are right. These are, you can see they're flat on two edges. They'll only fit one way. If you put it in that way, it won't fit. So you make sure you get these right, and the caliper will actually fit in. If not, it won't. So you know if you've gone wrong. Like that, there it needs to be turned like that. There we go, that's fitted in. Put both bolts in. Again, put them both in before you do anything. Both in. And then we can tighten up this baby. All that's left to do is just double check everything. I maybe not say it in all my videos, but I do it. There has been a couple of times I've had to turn the camera back on and show you that I've missed something, because it does happen. That's why you always double check, triple check, just to be on the safe side. There we go. Now, all that's left, the way I do it is tighten them, check that, check everything. And we're good to go. Just bang the wheel back on and we're sorted. Another handy thing I've just figured out about these gloves, you can use your old dog and bone, you don't have to take them off. You want to go to the bog and play Angry Birds? You can, with your fingers or with your gloves on. Sorted. Which is always nice. So, just bang on the wheel and that's it. Pump the brakes before you go anywhere, because now we've pushed the pistons back, you're going to have no brakes. Could take 2 or 3 pumps. The pedal should go really hard. Do that with the engine off, pedal should go really hard, and then it could take, you know, 500 to 1,000 miles for these to properly bed in, so be aware of that too. Make sure we've got our ABS sensor plugged back in, or just the connection there, because we took that off to take our drop link off. And now we can bang on the wheel. Now, always tighten these by hand. I've just snugged them up with the gun. You cannot tell how tight they are with the gun unless you're using maybe some kind of torque stick, but if you're not, drop it on the deck, torque it to your factory specs, sorted. Put my old hat back on to protect my old bonnet. So that's it, people. Like I said, I will be doing a competition for the hat, the gloves, and the goggles. I've got 1 of each to give away, essentially. No, 2 of each. 2 hats, 2 goggles, 2 gloves. 2 of each. And that's it. I'll leave the link down below where you can buy these from. And that's pretty much it. So I hope it helps. Pads and discs and drop links on a Peugeot. Another good thing to do is just make sure that your wheel turns. It's nothing's making a grinding noise, because sometimes you have a dust shield or a stone guard behind and you can bend them and they can hit on the disc and sound horrible, so that's okay. So look, hope it helps. Thumbs up, subscribe, all the usual links up here, links down below, but most important, don't forget, get your top of your 3 fingers dirty. Sorted.